Hey, what's up, everyone? Cameron here with Car Audio now again. Today, I'm going to be walking through some of JBL's latest boat and marine speakers. Pretty cool lineup. It's their Stadium Marine lineup. So, in this review, I'm going to open them up, walk through some of their cool features that I like and that I think are important when you're looking at marine or boat speakers, point out some of the differences between this lineup and the speakers here, and just give you a good walkthrough of the lineup so that you know what you're getting into before you buy them. And if you like these types of reviews and videos, please do me a huge favor. Click on the subscribe button below so I can keep on bringing you reviews of cool products like these JBLs. So let's walk through what you're seeing right now. The JBL Stadium Marine lineup is comprised of three speakers right now. You have on the right a 6.5 inch, which is a 100 watt RMS 3 ohm speaker. It's a coaxial. Then behind that, you have a pretty substantial box with 8 inch three-way convertible speakers that has some interesting features, and I'll get into that and what makes them a convertible speaker. It's a 200 watt RMS 3 ohm speaker. And then on the left here, you have a selectable 2 or 4 ohm 10-inch subwoofer. It handles 300 watts RMS. It's a pretty solid lineup here. Now, they don't make a 6.5 inch component, only the coaxial right now, or a 12 inch subwoofer. They only have a 10 inch. This is, what you see is what you get with this lineup right now. But between the three here, you're really going to be able to bring well-rounded sound to almost any boat or marine application. The 6.5 inches coaxials are great for things like the interior speakers, your bow, and same with the 8 inch speaker, although they're pretty sizable and you need a good amount of room to mount them and install them. And then, with one or two of these Stadium Marine 10-inch subs, you're going to have solid bass, no matter what the setup is. So I'm going to go ahead and actually pull these out of the boxes and start talking through each of and give you a close-up of some of their features. I'll also be hooking a set up to power to show you the RGB lighting for those of you who would like to see that, are interested in RGB lighting for their boat. I'm going to go ahead and hook it up to power for that. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to pull these out of the box, clear up the table, and start diving into the speaker features themselves. Okay, so here we are. I have one of each speaker on my bench so that you can get a look at each of them individually. You have the 10-inch subwoofer on the left, the 8-inch convertible, and then the 6-inch coaxial. And let's start by talking about some of the marine-specific features. UV protection, splash resistance. These are likely going to be in harsh environments. They're going to be installed in a boat, right, or somewhere near water, whether that be on a wakeboard boat, on a freshwater lake, or on a cruiser on the ocean. So when I look at marine speakers, I look for things like how well they're sealed, what types of plugs they have, and the hardware that they use, and so on. All three of these speakers share a lot of the same technology and features, and I think that marine readiness is one of those features that's a good example of shared technology. All three of the speakers are IPX3 rated in general. And then they're also IPX5 rated from the front when they're installed, which is the most, I would say, probably the most important, rating, right? So IPX3 basically means that they can produce, or the product can withstand sprays of water up to 60 degrees in angle. They're tested by an independent third party. While the IPX5 rating can withstand larger amounts of water. Water jets is what they use when they define the rating versus water sprays with the IPX3 rating. So they're IPX rated. Any speaker that isn't IPX rated is a non-starter for the marine application, obviously, so that's good to see. It's pretty standard. And when you look around the speaker, I'm going to pick one up, it's pretty well sealed and protected from the elements, from the grill and the face of the grill, and the cone, all the way to the motor and obviously the terminals, and then you have the RGB plugs here. The basket here is a one-piece unit made from a polymer plastic. You can see that on the front, the Mylar tweeter is pretty well integrated and sealed here. I just think of water or somebody sitting in the bow and these getting soaked, so they're pretty sealed. I think, it would have been nice to see that the terminals here were completely sealed off or use a plug of some sort. I've seen in other manufacturers, it looks like they use a corrosion resistive material though, so that's good to see. And from a performance perspective, they fare pretty well on paper. I obviously don't have these installed right now, and I won't be installing them and testing the audio in this particular review. But the 6.5, and I mentioned this earlier, the 6.5 inch are rated at 100 watts RMS. The 8 inch speakers are rated for 200 watts. RMS, and then the subwoofer is rated at 300 watts. I'd probably recommend doubling up on the 10-inch speakers if you're going to put these on something like a 25 or 27, 28-foot plus deck boat or speed boat, depending on the combination of 8-inch and 6-inch speakers, and how many you're going to be placing around the boat. But for comparison, the JL Audio M6, the 10-inch subwoofer, marine grade subwoofer from JL, has a 250 watt RMS. So in terms of power handling, they're pretty comparable. I'll add some links to the description if you're looking for more specific performance specs like sensitivity and frequency range. I also did a pretty in-depth review, a written review that's on our website on Car Audio Now that has a lot more information too. But I think it's important to call out here that, one particular feature is the cone technology that's used for this lineup of speakers. All three share what's called +1 cones. This technology is shared across many speakers at JBL and Infinity, including their automotive speakers. And basically what this means is that these cones, when compared to the traditional JBL or Infinity cones, are sizably larger. They're 35% larger is what they claim. And what that's good for is efficiency and responsiveness for lower frequency. I think this is particularly important for the 6.5-inch speakers, which for some manufacturers can lack a punch or bass in the lower frequencies. Same with the 10-inch subwoofer. I think in general, anything that can increase the surface area of these two speakers is going to be good, especially in the outdoor environment where bass doesn't carry as well as it does like inside a car. So, if you look at the cones themselves, and I'll just grab the 8-inch, they're made from a polypropylene. Trying to get you some light. They're made from a polypropylene material, nothing too important here, beyond sort of the +1 technology. So let's talk a little bit more about the tweeters on the speakers. I set aside the subwoofer for a minute. Both the 6.5-inch and the 8-inch speakers feature a Mylar tweeter. Mylar is a pretty flexible material. It's sort of in between a soft fabric and hard metal material. It's not a hard material like aluminum and titanium dome tweeters though. So generally the highs on these will be a little softer than a harder material, but and won't project as far. But more importantly, what I want to talk about is this convertible mechanism, this convertible tweeter mechanism on the 8-inch speaker. Now the 6.5-inch speaker has a fixed tweeter. You can see that it's fixed to the grill. But the 8-inch speakers allow you to pull the tweeter out of the center here and mount them independently with this flush mount. They come with this separate mounting grill that'll allow you to mount it to a surface, completely independent of the larger driver. And when you pick this up, you can see on the back here you have these flaps that'll allow you to screw it, and it'll pull this mount to the surface from behind. It reminds me of what they use for electrical boxes that are installed, directly onto drywall without any studs. Super easy to use, but they basically have to be mounted to a surface that has a back that you can secure these flaps to, right? And you can see you'll use a screwdriver or your screw gun, and it'll pull these flaps and secure it to the surface that way. This is a really unique design. I haven't seen this type of tweeter or convertible design on at least in the marine side from anyone else right now. It's a great idea. It allows you to separate the tweeter like a traditional component speaker, which is actually what I'd recommend on any stereo. Or you can keep it contained and install it like a coaxial, like you see here. JBL gives you a signal wire. If you want to separate it, they give you a signal wire that will allow you to plug that tweeter in basically directly into the crossover so that you can, mount it and wire it separately. So really quick, next I'm just going to show you how to go about swapping this out. They give you a tool. So let me get that set up here real quick. Cool, so I cleared out the 6.5 inch. So let me show you how to swap or remove this tweeter and install it in this this separate flush mount grill. They give you a tool to do this. You're basically going to throw this tool onto the grill. You're going to twist clockwise, right, which is kind of opposite what you would expect when you're loosening or removing. So you click it, you'll use it clockwise, and then what you'll do is you'll pull it out like so. And then on the back side, let me see if I can give you a close-up. You can see that this is plugged in directly into the back of the tweeter. You're going to unplug that, and now you have the separate tweeter. And they give you the option, or they give you a little place to tuck this wire in on the inside of the speaker, just to be out of view for when you mount this this grill cover, like so. And so the next thing you'll do is pretty much the same thing. You'll take and twist. You'll twist clockwise, and then this whole mechanism will come out of the grill, or the larger mount, and then you're going to place this directly back on the speaker, and twist it in, right, like so. You can see now it has a clean look, and then you'll essentially take this and you'll mount it directly in the flush mount here. You're going to twist it. Voila. Now you can mount this separately. They give you a separate wire here so that you can wire this directly from the speaker, and I'll show you that in a second, directly into the tweeter. And basically what they have here is a little output, I would say, a signal output right here. You'll plug this wire in. You'll take it from here to the tweeter if you decide to do that. Pretty cool feature. I thought it was innovative. Something that I haven't really seen. It allows you to separate the tweeter and really get a component feel. I like the design and the idea. It's a little tricky. You saw it's kind of tricky to swap the tweeter out, but pretty easy concept. And one thing that I would say that I would like to see from JBL is maybe improvement on the wiring and the plugs that they use. You can see here over time, this might be a weak spot for corrosion if you're in salt water. Nothing major though, but in general, a really cool idea. Next, I want to talk about LED lighting, and I'm actually going to go ahead and wait till it gets a little darker. I'm going to hook them up to power and show you what they look like using an RGB controller. It's actually a Clarion. I'll get to that in a moment. But so let me go ahead and set those up real quick and hook these speakers up to power and start showing you the LED features. All right, so it's a little darker here. I hooked these speakers up to my test bench. You can see I'm using a universal Clarion RGB LED controller to test out the LED functionality here on these JBLs. LED in general is sort of becoming a standard for marine speakers, so it's good to see that these are up to par. So let me turn them on real quick and give you a quick demo of the various lighting and the functionality here and what they look like. So turn them on. Boom, this is white actually, and they might have a different hue on my video, but they're actually white here. And what you're looking at is the 6.5-inch speakers, but all three speaker models share the same LED technology. They share the same LED lighting, which is great because you can really create a mood throughout your boat just by installing speakers. And what's unique, a little bit unique about these JBLs is that they actually have two LEDs. You have one on the outer ring here, which lights up kind of the surface. And then you also have one on the underside of the grill, and that's what's lighting up the cone. It's firing down on the cone, and that's why you see the light on the cone. Most of the speakers that I've actually seen have one or the other, either on the outer rim here or lighting up the cone. I haven't actually seen one with both, so this is kind of cool. And depending on how you wire them, you can sync them all up together. You can sync up your 6.5s with your 8.5s with your subwoofer with 3 6.5s, for example. You make the whole boat sync up to one single kind of source, and it'll all light up with the same color, with the same, if you have it flashing, for example, the same mode. And depending on the LED controller that you're using, these speakers can emit, 7 different colors is what they say. So let me kind of cycle through them so you can get a good look. First, so you obviously have white. That's what's on. That's what's on right now. You have red. You have green. You have blue, yellow, aquamarine is what they call this one, pink. But you also have a few. I'm just going to cycle through a couple other ones. You can see you have orange and different hues, different colors and shades. You really have a wide variety of colors with these speakers. So pretty straightforward. This Clarion RGB controller was like $39, so it's pretty simple. It's pretty cheap too. It's straightforward, it's simple, and it looks great. So no complaints here. I really like the look. I like how they have kind of two separate LEDs, one for kind of the surface and one for the cone. Pretty unique, but in general, looks pretty great from an LED perspective. So wrapping up here, I think that these JBL Stadium Marine speakers are a great option for your boat, for a marine grade speaker setup. Great for your boat, your UTV, or just in general an outdoor application because of their IPX rating and their kind of weather readiness. They're priced pretty well, about $350 for the 6.5-inch coaxial here, $450 for the 8-inch, about $230 for the 10-inch subwoofer. I'd say they're priced a little on the higher side from what I've seen, but I think that's because they come with built-in LEDs and the 8-inch in particular, that $450 price tag. I think it's because it comes with some cool features and innovative features like the separation of the tweeter, making it a convertible speaker, allowing you to flush mount the tweeter independently. I would expect that to be a little bit more pricey. Overall, a great well-rounded set of speakers. So all in all, great option. I'm excited to put these in a boat and hear them. That's all I had today for these speakers. Thanks again for watching. And again, if you like this type of content, please do me a favor and click the subscribe button below the video. Thanks.